everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Elevate with C&M Coaching. My name is Maggie. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I was at the Dealer Performance Group meeting, and of course, they have recently announced a merger with NIEDA, which is, of course, very exciting and hopefully a super productive decision. I think it's going to be really great for the dealers. I think it's going to be easy for education. I think it's going to be excellent for kind of the whole industry so that everybody can work together to try to improve dealerships across the board, from owners to managers to salespeople to collectors to service advisors, all the way down from the top to the bottom. I love the educational aspect of everything that both groups were doing, and I only see good things from the merger occurring. So I was there when they made the announcement. I don't think a lot of people were expecting it. It certainly was a surprise, but from all of the buzz I have heard nothing but good, positive things regarding the merger. So, exciting news there if you hadn't heard that. I have some special guests with me here today, and I also want to take the opportunity to talk a little bit about Buy Here, Pay Here United. I am going to be attending that as well. I will be speaking. So, Buy Here, Pay Here United is going to be at the Bellagio Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, and it is going to be excellent. We're going to have so much fun. It's going to be on April 30th through May 2nd. I will be speaking on May 2nd at 3 o'clock, playing sales and collections calls. I'm really excited about it. I have a general session. It's going to be excellent. I have some amazing calls my team has been saving for me for you guys, so do not miss that event. Definitely make sure that you check it out and get yourself registered today. You can Google search Buy Here, Pay Here United or BHPH United, and it will take you to the event, and you can get yourself registered right away. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this conversation started with our special guests here today. Thank you guys so much for joining us here today. My special guests are Fred Lennartz and Lou Ramirez from Certified Solutionaries and Car Guy Coffee Podcast. I'm really excited to have them here today. Thank you guys so much for being here.
It's an honor.
Well,
Thank you for having us.
it's definitely our pleasure. You're amazing, and we're looking forward to having this conversation. It's always a good one.
So, is it weird for you guys to be interviewed instead of interviewing?
It's a little different to have the tables turned on us a bit.
Right?
We're still having a cup of coffee and a conversation.
Where are you guys from? Are you guys both from the same area?
Kentucky.
Yeah, we actually are. Yeah,
Central
we're about 20 minutes apart from each other. Same county, different cities. But grew up in this area as in automotive together, and across the country. But yeah, this good old bluegrass state, Central Kentucky, just south of Louisville.
And how long have you guys been working together?
Since 2004.
Wow, that's a long time, almost 20 years.
Oh yeah. Yes. It's long friendship, long time, and lots to learn and a lot more to go. A lot more to go.
So, why don't you guys start off by telling everybody a little bit about what you guys do? It doesn't matter to me if you guys want to talk about your podcast or your business first, but just let the listeners know a little bit about what you guys do and what you're about.
I'll take the podcast, and I'll let Lou talk about the agency. The podcast is something that Lou and I created a little over 3 years ago. This first show was on 1/20/2020, our first brew, right, Lou? And it was such an announcement we made 3 months prior. We started working on it in around October range of 2019, just coming up with ideas, just putting together, spending countless nights, 3 nights a week. We committed to us getting together around 11 o'clock at night to 2, 3 in the morning. And then he'd drive back home, and he did a lot of dedication on that. I built this table. We're sitting here. We did so much during that time. But we made an announcement. We even put it out there. I was heard that you have to take big things and make big announcements to make sure that you do it right, and drastic measures, right? And I did that. We made shirts. We gave it to all our friends, our family, and we put it out there. And the idea of Car Guy Coffee was from years prior. It's an aura. It's an energy that Lou portrays in the showroom. Something that I portrayed. Something that we push each other to portray, right? And it's and there's a story to that, and we'll talk about that some more here in a little bit. But the show came about because we're two guys who absolutely love what we do. We love this industry. We shout out to the heavens all the time about how blessed we are. We have so much gratitude for so many things, from our family, our lives, but we know that this industry was a big part of where we're at today. So we want to make sure that other people see that, and see that this is a great place to be, and you should come buy cars from us because we're great, but you should come get a job in this industry too, because it can
Yeah.
really transform you, right? So we did the podcast. We started doing interviews. The interviews was the key. It all happened 1/20/2020. 2 months later, guess what? We had the whole crisis, the whole coronavirus happened,
Yeah.
right? And
Good
when that
time.
happened, it was like, what do we do? I can't
Mhm.
interview people at the studio. Bingo. We figured out digital. We started doing Zoom interviews, and then we figured out StreamYard, and then we just got better at the digital thing. And next thing you know, we're interviewing everybody that were people that we were looking up to on social that were doing things in automotive. And they were just coming on the show and repeating the same thing, Lou. And Lou would, this was the most fun I've ever had on a podcast, right? And I remember just being like, we got something here. But we discovered that the five liner, which is a show, the way we do it's a setup, it's a great format, and it's something that we absolutely are going to invite you, Maggie, now to be on. We want to make sure that you're on there. We've already talked about it a little bit. We're going to
I'd
have you
love
come over and
to.
be on the other side of the mic too, right? But it's an idea to hear people's story, their hearts, their souls, who they are, why they are, and where they're trying to go, right? And we want people to see that because we're not criminals. We're not over here, we're not
Yeah.
cheats, thieves. We're good people who care about our clients, who care about the people that are buying cars. Our own family buy cars,
Yeah.
from
Right.
all ranges. I can tell you there's people in my family that probably have the best credit to the worst credit, right? And
Yep.
they each one of them, I love them all. So why would I treat them all differently? I would treat them all the same. They all deserve a chance, an opportunity, education, encouragement, and empowerment. Anyway, the show's been great. It's been an outreach for that. It of course built our network, got our name out there a lot. And then people discovered that we were actually car people. We weren't just media people. Which almost 20 years in the industry, right? Between the both of us, almost 40 years.
Yeah.
But high level, running great stores from franchise to independent. And then that gave us an opportunity once people started asking questions about what we really did to be starting our new business. And I'll let Lou take over from here.
So we had a lot of passion teaching our salespeople inside of the stores for years. And
Yeah,
it became an interest to start taking the tools that we were giving sales pros to stand out inside of the market, whether it was with social media, phone skills, and started to say, wait a minute, there's something more here. So some research started to get done on what we can do to start creating courses, creating new levels of training. And as the podcast continued to grow, our relationships kept growing. And we would continuously shout from the mountaintops that there is a rise of solutionaries. And as we continue to, and we did an episode on the podcast called The Rise of the Solutionaries. And as we continue to lean into that, we kept just using the word more and more and more until we said, okay, well, let's create an agency that's called Certified Solutionaries. It would be a completely original one because solutionaries is not a word. So, so you would have to find us if you spelt it right inside of the search engine for Certified Solutionaries. And inside of that, the premise was to make sure that we were clear with those that we would teach that, well, we know the way. It's not enough to just know the way. We then have to go the way. And it's not enough to just go the way, but in the middle there's a showing of the way. So we know the way, show the way, go the way. And that began our conversations with many of the best in the industry that would then be able to plug in tools to help dealerships. And as we all know, as you plug in a tool for a dealership, that tool can just collect dust, or it can ascend a dealership to the top of the mountain, depending on what training is involved. And inside of that, we noticed that there is lots of room for training, which we were big on training at our store, especially when we got knee deep into it. We started to watch the excelling of each sales pro, but inside of the dealerships, we noticed how hard it was for people to commit to the time for training. And as we started to keep the conversations going on what tools are being activated, well, dealers would want to cancel tools that they were all pumped up and excited about having because they weren't being used or the techniques weren't being utilized by the salespeople. So we began to just lean into the training side while still being able to open up a bag and be the baristas that we are in brewing solutions and presenting products that would actually caffeinate or uplift the business of the dealership. We started to recognize more and more and more that your managers need personal development, your salespeople need personal development, your leaders, your owners, your general managers,
Right.
partners, they need personal development. And leaning into the concept that if you build your people, you will build your business, that keeps being more and more of what it is that the certified solutionaries side is doing right now, especially as we begin our recruitment campaigns to pull in more certified solutionaries to keep echoing the mantra of know the way, show the way, and go the way. But in that, the main message that we want to make sure that everybody knows from the podcast to the certified solutionaries is that there is a way that you can consistently keep growing. And that's if you do apply the core values of a solutionary, but you apply the 3 F's, which are to forgive, focus, and to fly, so that you can keep growing. And that has been the message that we keep beating into the hearts of people that we talk to, whether from the podcast or whether in person inside of stores, because it is so easy to get in your own way by not forgiving yourself, not forgiving your leaders, not forgiving your colleagues, and that will be the first thing that robs you of your focus. And if you can't focus, well, you can't go anywhere, because ultimately you are going to go where you gaze. And if you can't get focused on where it is that you want to go, well, you're not going to stretch out and fly there. And inside of that, we recognize that the more we keep preaching that message, that at first it's like, yeah, it's real catchy, cool moves, thanks.
Oh yeah.
Okay, until they deal with the day of, oh man, I got to forgive.
Yeah.
Oh man, I got to focus. And if we do those things, daggone it, we can fly. So in all, that is I guess a half a cup size brew of Car Guy Coffee Podcast and the Certified Solutionaries. But I appreciate you asking. Thank you so much for bringing us on.
Yeah, of course. Now, I have to say, as a trainer, that this is one of my biggest pet peeves. I will meet somebody at an event or at a 20 group meeting or an NIDA or after one of the speaking opportunities that I've had, and they will be all in, like all in all the way, and everybody's ready to go. And then 6 weeks later, I'll meet with my coaches and I'll take a look at the scores of the store, and nobody will have listened to a single phone call, because the managers aren't really as all in as the owners are. And so the manager will be frustrated because this is just one more thing that I have to manage now on top of my team. But the problem here is that if your phone calls suck or they're not great, then your store traffic is also going to suck or not be great. And some stores are lucky enough to have really good foot traffic. So they're in a good location, they're on a corner, they have, a great advertising, and so people will come in without calling. But there is a way to do a good job and, convert your sales calls into appointments. Not to mention just improving your overall customer service as well. And, improving your phone skills can be an amazing thing. So, how do you guys handle that when you see a good vendor with a great product that will really benefit the sales team, but no one's actually using the tools that they have available to them?
And that's it right there. So, easy tip, and this is something that Lou and I have recently really discovered, and it's something that we just kind of fell into, and realizing that you have to sit down and do masterminds with the management big time. Like, you have to sit down and get them included, make them feel like there's value, because there is. A lot of times what they see is true, but a lot of times they just don't know the actions to take because they've never had to deal with something like that. This world's different. If you've been a manager in the last 20 years in this industry, you've had to change a lot. This last shift, these last 3 years, there's been a lot of digital change.
It really
So it
has.
confuses people from you're using your CRM fully and really understanding the CRM, the DMS, the everything, right?
Yeah.
Understanding all that and how to use it is a huge advantage. But when you feel a little bit like, well, I don't know, you're not going to really get your staff involved. It's the same thing with training. So when you get training and there's all this stuff going on with training, but they're not really involved and they don't really know what's happening, they're going to just kind of like, it doesn't work. Or
Right.
they're not going to, be accountable for it after the fact for anything, whether it's phone training, whether it's sales training, BDC training, to all the way to your service training, right? All that. If you're not sitting there and you're not doing what's needed after you leave, the follow-up, the after action reviews, but the only way they're going to do it is really you have to sit down and get them involved, like spend time with them, become best friends with them as a trainer. Like
Right.
that's who you're, the staff's going to naturally love you because you're energetic. You're going to bring all this knowledge, different perspective. Leadership's going to kind of be like this at first, like, why do we got them here? Some of them, right?
Yeah.
We know those people. But when you go in there and you're, hey, let's talk, let's figure this out together. You tell me what else you think we need to train. I need to customize this for your store, for your people. How easy is it for you to be able to hold this accountable? Could you do that for me? When you're able to have those kind of conversations and build that trust, it levels it all up. We had to discover that the first few times we went in staff heavy, like, let's go staff. And then we realized management's not getting what we're doing. They're not picking up what
Right.
we're putting down. Right. So once we flip the script, change the whole game up. So that would be the easiest tip for me to give people.
I like to see management sit in on training as well, learn the same stuff. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, we would love to have managers contribute into the training. So
Mhm.
especially
There you
if
go,
a
bingo.
manager into the room, we do the best that we can to pull from them something that they can add to. A lot of times it's something that they've maybe said 10 times, right? And
Right.
now that we're echoing it, we're saying it, then they get to echo it. A lot of times they'll be like, I said this 100 times, guys, right? Now these
Right,
guys
yeah.
are saying it, you're listening. But the understanding that even though managers in our industry, remember, we have to accept the fact that we are some of the least trained industry on the sales side. On the mechanic side, totally different world. Okay, there's
Right.
many different levels of training they have to be on the sales side. As experts of products, we are the least trained of most professionals there are, right? And as we get to see more and more schools popping up, other nations have schools to become car guys and car gals. But what we recognize is that some of this they get honestly. Let's be real. Many managers were really successful salespeople inside of their pond,
Mhm.
inside of their store. They were the best because they were killing it. They were doing a great job. They get elevated to management, which didn't come with a rule book or a guidebook in how to develop
Right.
people.
Yeah.
Inside of that, what we recognize is that many managers don't have that training skill. Not most of them are not military based. We are both blessed to have a background from the military, which is zeroed in on developing people to go to the next rank. In the auto industry, you have managers that are scared to develop people to go to the next rank because it's, oh, you coming after my job? Oh, that kid's coming after your job.
That's what I was going to say. They don't want to share secrets. They don't want to share how they got there because they're afraid someone else is going to take over their job. And it's like, the dealership is only as good as everyone who works there as a whole. When you have these stores that just deal with these issues and just constantly the fighting and the stealing each other's leads and going into the CRM and changing the lead out of your coworker's name and into your own, it's like that stuff drives me crazy. Just work together for the good of the business.
So true, so true. One of our core values is honor. At the center of our core
Amen.
values is honor.
Middle of.
And inside of the honor system, and recognizing that, look, the best thing that you could do in any position that you're in is give yourself wholly to those that employ you and
Mhm.
those that follow you. And do not hold anything back from them, right? We're not at work to ration our gifts. We're there to give all that we can for the day that we're at work, the day that
Yeah.
we're blessed to have a day to go to work, and be able to utilize what we have in our hands to take ourselves and others to the next level. The concept of being able to develop a succession plan inside of the dealership was so foreign, especially in a business that doesn't keep people for long. Whether
No.
it's salespeople or managers, the life
Right.
cycle is at most 2 to 3 years, and that's being generous.
I was going to
But
say.
when recognizing that dealers are so confused about why they lose their customers, well, it's because you lose your people. Your
Right.
people
There you
are
go.
buying from your sales pros.
Mhm.
Your customers are buying from your people. And if your people leave, guess where your customers go?
Mhm.
Either wherever they went or just on to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
And inside of that, when recognizing that this is a long game, it's not a month to month game. And if we keep playing it month to month, well, 1 month we got a staff, 1 month we don't. 1 month we're on tilt, the other month we're falling off a ledge. And the developing of managers to develop sales pros starts to ignite something inside of managers to say,
Mhm.
whoa, my people are coming alive because of what I'm pouring into them, because I really want to see them grow. That lights something up inside of salespeople.
Yeah.
And it wakes something up inside of leaders that maybe they didn't have the education on.
So let me ask you about this because this is something I hear a lot. You kind of brought it up. We do a lot of individual one on one personal training with the sales staff individually. So people physically boots on the ground selling cars. And I can call someone on a Monday and by Thursday, they don't work there anymore. So owners will say, I'm just looking for a body. Like, I don't want to make them or force them to be better at their job because I'm just looking for a body. I need someone to sell cars. I don't want to rock the boat. And a lot of times they're doing it themselves. A lot of these smaller stores, you've got the owner working actively selling cars or maybe managing the business aspect, and then maybe they have a salesperson, a collector, and a title clerk. So sometimes, yes, they are really small. So they will take anybody because they struggle to find people that are willing to grow and learn.
Mhm.
And then, for me, it's hard to be like, all right, guys, look, we're not just looking for bodies. We're looking for someone that we can train, that we can grow, that wants to kind of develop into the role. So, like, what do you guys do when that happens to you? I mean, have you guys had that happen? Have you experienced this? Or have you had an owner say to you, look, I'm just looking for a body?
Something close to that, absolutely. We need to fill some seats, that type of thing, and it's like, I totally agree with you. That's not necessarily the actions that are needed because you're going to waste a lot of time.
Yep.
I wrote a story for Used Car Dealer magazine, and I wrote a story about hiring and retention. And when I put it in there was a lot of stats that were kind of less like astounding. For one, 68% of people we hire in automotive don't make it past the first year, right?
Yeah, that's bad.
Means we're not retaining an awful lot, and that's big. The national average is like is not too far off. I think really high 40s, maybe low 50s in that range, right? And big, that's crazy, right? And so that just tells you nationwide there's a lot of that going on. So it's not just sales. Sales just happen to be a little bit more
Of course.
scary for some folks, right? So and it's a different job, and much like Lou said, there's not enough training going on for those. We're the least trained sales professionals in the world. I tell you, we have maybe some good product knowledge, but we don't have relationship knowledge. And then he talks about leadership. We don't have enough leadership training. We have a great, hey, how to teach them how to sell a car, maybe hey, this is how I did it type stuff, but they don't understand how to be leaders, how to coach them, how to teach them to become leaders. And like Lou said, that we were very good advantage of being in the military, understanding how that process goes and understanding that there takes levels of accountability and self accountability, but looking up to your sergeant and looking at them and just taking all command and trusting what they said, right? And that's something that a lot of us don't have in automotive. People who are very confident in that, they're just like, hey, yeah, just go do it. If you figure it out, go watch them do this. That's not going to work. So that's kind of the struggle that we're seeing right now in automotive. We're seeing that big time, just like becoming like smacking people in the face, and it's really happening. Like Glenn Pash, and I know I'm rambling a little bit, but Glenn Pash said something really, really profound to me because I was sitting there and I was talking to him while we were interviewing him at NADA this past week, and I said that we've become lazy. Because the process was kind of easy the last couple of years. Especially on new cars, this is all we got. Right. This is the only color we have, right? And he said to me, Fred, no, I have to push back a little bit on that. I don't think we were lazy. We were just working the process that we had. Mm-hmm. It was just that. It was what it is, right? He goes, do I think that we need to learn skills again? Renewal of skills? He's right, we do. And yes, I do agree. That was my point. But he said it right. Instead of speaking badly about what was happening, I need to speak more positively, and I think that's the key, is that we need to look into the positivity of how we can help people, and really just encouraging and going in and just digging in and massaging those spots and finding those places that are knots that we can unknot for them, right? And be able to, hey, this is way less stress, tension if you do it this way, right? And being able to give them that. So
yeah, and I think the training aspect is a little bit of a sore subject for me too, because you think about any other job in the world, like they're not going to stick you in Starbucks and go, here you go, figure out how to make a frappuccino. I mean, that's just not going to happen. Something as simple as coffee, they're going to train you and they're going to teach you how to do it. In some of these industries, people are going to 2, 3 week, even 4 week long training sessions. But in sales, we don't do that. We push them a piece of paper and a phone and go, here you go, figure it out. Here's a stack of outbound unsold follow-up lead calls to make. These are, 6-month-old leads that no one's been in touch with. And there you go. Call them up, get them in the door, figure it out. And that's always to me just like so frustrating. It's like, what are you doing? You don't hire mechanics and not make sure they know how to change oil or, rotate a tire. And, customer psychology is real, and you need to train your staff because there are the right things to say and there are certain ways to say things that are going to help you ultimately reach your goal. Also, thank you both for your service to the country. So, you guys just came back from NADA. Why don't you tell everybody what it was like? Was it crazy busy? Was it a lot of fun? What happened? I saw your pictures on Facebook, so I know you had fun.
Elated. Whole lot of people. Man, there was so many dealers that were there eager and excited. They had their wallets out, they had their pens out, they were ready to do some business. They had their binoculars hunting for the best tools to be able to help them get to the next level. And they were moving, they were getting their steps in, they were listening to some great speeches. And but really, from the people that we had the chance to speak to, we went booth to booth to booth to booth, seeing so many of our friends, but they kept saying, man, we've had the best year we've ever had at an NADA. Some of them triple the times, bigger than 4 years combined, showing up to this conference.
And it wasn't even in Vegas.
No, it wasn't, probably because it wasn't in Vegas.
First time it ever was in Dallas
that.
too, and it was.
Yes.
I'm going to give it up to Kay Bailey Convention Center. That place is a great spot for a convention for anyone looking to put out a big one. It's got all the room you need.
And it's a big airport, so it's easy in, easy out, a lot of direct flights.
Direct flight to our house, easy.
And not as distracting. You know how distracting Vegas could be. And the even the way the parties were done, it was more set inside of a way where you can go enjoy a good concert, enjoy a good show, enjoy a good meal, have some drinks, be back at your room at a decent time for you to get up and go have a good productive day at a convention that you spent your money on. You're spending away from your business, your family, go get some product. But I think the distractions were minimized just because it was Texas. You're more likely to have a hangover from too much barbecue than you were from being out partying too much. You know what I mean? I know we did. We were glad to get that barbecue, get on the plane, and just crash.
Yeah, you guys look pretty tired in that last picture.
We were running and going. We a lot of backwards walking, a lot of forward walking, a lot going on.
So tell me a little bit about what you guys do as far as on-site sales training. I'm friends with Fred on Facebook, so I see you guys traveling around quite a bit. So tell me a little bit about your on-site sales training and what that's like.
It's everything, and it's that first thing we do is we go in and we teach them language and confidence, right? And that's the big thing. We go in and we speak a language to them, explain to them what being a solutionary truly is, and we have 5 core values. Our first one's love, second one's faith, and it's honor, being adaptable, of course, and then the last one's consistent. And you have to be all 5 of those, and that's how you got to think about everything that you do. And everything and every interaction, we teach them how to be with customers. We teach them what the art of being a true sales pro is. What it is. It's a solutionary. It's a problem solver. You must first seek to understand, then to be understood. That's by our good friend Stephen Covey. I've never met him. I just say good friend. I love the guy. We use a lot of his quotes, but that one is where we start. You must seek to understand, then to be understood. And really, that is the core of everything that we teach. It's don't get me wrong. There's chapters on top of chapters and words on top of words. And there's so many things. We're not really big word track people, transition words, maybe, things like that. We teach them all kinds of little ways to be able to finish off a sentence and be able to deliver and get an answer from somebody. But at the end of the day, it's about figuring out what the customer needs and being able to help them and make them know that we understand that. And then we show them what we can do, and they'll follow if you do that. It's not about meet and greet to delivery. It's about meet and greet to build rapport. Then it's to the next step and so on and so forth. It's not about that. Eventually, they're all going to buy.
Right. Well, they're going to buy from someone, right?
And 3 out of 4 are probably not going to buy from you. And that's the national average. That's okay. So that's why we have to teach them to be confident and know that it's okay if 3 of them will walk away or if 3 of them don't work out, because that's going to happen. It's national average. Some of you are going to do better. Some of you are going to do a little worse. But listen, if you're doing that, you're doing fine. Just remember, every 3 no's you hear, you're about to hear a yes. So get excited. But it's also an opportunity to get better, right? We don't really have a job until someone gives us what we call a concern, not an objection, but a concern. And then, or if they tell us no, right? And that's when we have to really be like, okay, well, let's get more into understanding them, because obviously we don't know them all the way. So I mean, that's the basis of it, that with the sales, we teach them that it's very simplistic, but yet it's very energetic. It's very loving. And we get the whole team, like we mentioned earlier, we get with the leadership, the owners, they have to be there with it. And if they are, and they will be, because they have to be, this is amazing. They want their stores to grow. Why invest in your store if you're not going to invest in your people at the same time with just time? So we show them how to do that with fun too.
That's why we love, Maggie, that you say that you're not an expense. You are an investment,
right?
Just like the investment of time. Setting aside the time for training is an investment that many dealers are just so hard. It's so hard to get it in their head that, wait a minute, I need to take an hour here for that, but we might be selling cars. Come on. If you're developing your people during that time the way that we should and being focused on that, you're going to sell way more in the other hours that you're not training.
That's right.
I'm going to put that on a loop.
Right. One car deal will stop everybody from training. Come on.
I know.
The importance of recognizing not so much just how to overcome objections. Overcoming objections is kind of the easy part. What it is that we want to make sure that we fuse into teaching sales pros is how to overcome distractions that keep you from building your business, not from just closing the one deal, from doing all of the things that go into the day that create a deal. We're about making people focus on the activities that lead to car deal, not the one person that's stopping you from the one car deal that you're in front of. Inside of the tasks that we give everybody, we call it Make It Happen Mapping.
That's right.
It's 7 key pieces that they're supposed to focus in on going through for the day, because what we noticed is that many salespeople, they'll go to the store and they know one mission they have to do: sell a car. That's all that they know. After that, okay, whatever. Well, that's not even on Make It Happen Mapping. That particular piece of the day happens if they do all of the things that we point them out to do. One of those things is easy. Mandatory fun. They have to be having a good time at work while they're doing what they're doing. Another piece is training, and we can break down Make It Happen Mapping for them. But the idea of doing the activities that lead to car deal, the activities that lead to doing business. And so many times, and I know us, we were released out onto the lot, go stand on point. Hopefully somebody jumps in the boat, and then you learn how to get them ready.
I've been chased through a car lot by salesmen before. I was in my car driving around and he's like, "Oh, what are you trying to buy?" And he's chasing behind my car. I don't love it when they stick them on the lot and they ask them to chase your car down.
That was our first 2 years in the business, just like that.
You're being chased by a couple of people or a few people outside, and there's usually 1 or 2 people that are inside banging on the phone, making contacts, talking to service customers, doing all of the stuff that builds their business, just creating more conversations. And that is the fundamental piece that we try to make sure we do lean in with salespeople on is, listen, you are building a business. You've just been given millions of dollars of inventory, thousands of dollars worth of hardware and equipment, right? Hundreds of dollars worth of stationery and whatever else it takes for you to do your business. You just need to bring a good, clean, pressed outfit, right? And be bringing your smile, and don't twiddle your thumbs today. If you don't know what to do, that's because you don't have a map. And that's where we often would come in, because we know sales managers, once it's that time, we all know the witching hour, once it starts going, once the deals start coming in, that's it. You're eating deals and you're working your car deals. Managers, we get it. We know, we've sat in those positions, and any distraction from working that deal at hand does not matter, right? That's why people can't get a hold of us on their cell phones. We're not answering emails. We're working car deals because we got a person on the ground waiting to do business. But for the salesperson that isn't doing business, they're either doing one of 2 things: looking outside, hoping somebody else drives up to give them business, or over there complaining and hating on the person that is doing business, if they're not knee deep inside of working their own business. And that's where, I mean, we get people hitting on their chests, pumped up, saying, "I am a business," right? So that they can build themselves up, because there's no other industry that you can do this in like the car business. Even Marcus Lemonis said if he lost everything now, he'd jump into the car business, because you get somebody else's inventory and a big fat piece of each dollar that gets made. Come on now. That's why we love this business.
Of course. Do you have anything that you want to add, Fred?
You know, as you can see how passionate we are about this industry and the dealerships that we get to hang out with and the solutionaries that we get to meet and create, and it's a passion of ours. We believe in legacy. I know you do too. Legacy, how we're going to be remembered long after we've been here.
Yeah.
And what we and I don't just believe in legacy for myself, for this industry. It's this industry has a legacy of its own, and some of the legacy is great to the consumer, some of it's not good, right?
Right.
So we want to
Absolutely.
change that. So the processes that we teach help change that. It's
Mhm.
not the old school rhetoric of how we close this person. No, it's how do we help this person make a better decision? Because the best decision is to deal with us because we actually care. Hands
Yeah.
down, I feel like when someone working with me and we're working together, I am the one that's going to help them and believe in their best interests.
Mhm.
To the point where if it's not with me, I would rather you go buy somewhere I know would be the best for you.
Yeah.
That's how much I am that passionate about it. And people who know me know that it is what I am. But that's why we've been able to help a lot of people solve their transportation problems. That's why we've been able to do it at our own stores with our own clients as we were sales pros to the level that we're teaching others to do it. It's the right way. I quit selling cars about 10 years ago and I started solving problems. And when I did, my life changed.
Yeah.
And it really did. It wasn't just, I always made money, but then now I started being fulfilled. Right. I started going to sleep thinking, man, I just helped so many people today. My goodness, people crying, the emotions that we see of folks buying. This is an emotional experience. And we have to understand that it's not about nobody wants this transactional anymore. If they do,
Right.
they'll go online, press the buttons, let them do that. But
Especially with subprime.
Right. When someone's calling you, when someone's going and they're needing to talk to you and someone's showing up on your lot, there needs to be processes that show them that we're here and we're human beings.
Right.
This isn't transactional. We're here building relationships over our revenue, right? We're putting people over our profits. Because at the end of the day, when we do that, those two bottom things become pretty good.
Yeah.
And people will pay more and people will come back more and send everyone to you if you do it that way. So that's what we teach. That's what we try to show. And we know that's the future of automotive. It's the future of the world.
It really is. So I'm a big fan of active listening, paying attention to the customer, actually literally hearing what they say and make sure that your responses are aligned with what they're going through. I mean, let's be honest, as phone trainers, we hear all kinds of difficult phone calls. For example, calls where someone is in an abusive relationship and this vehicle is literally their only way out. It's their only chance to get free. And when you hear things like that and then you see a dealer bending over backwards to try to help these people, it does make a difference. And not everyone sees that side of it. And salespeople, unfortunately, do get a bad rep. And, oh, you sold me a piece of garbage car, but used vehicles are unpredictable. My husband is a mechanic, so I know firsthand that a car can look great on paper, but something can still go wrong 100 miles after the customer has purchased it, and you can't predict that. You don't have a crystal ball. Okay, so let's move on and talk about 2023. What are you guys brewing fresh for 2023?
Love it.
About the fresh brew. We've recently just began putting our courses online.
Excellent. I love that.
Promoting a green to great program to help dealers and salespeople get solidified inside of the basics. That was also a great piece of the conversations that we had over at NADA. Many people saying, hey, we got to get back to the basics. Our salespeople don't know the basics.
Yeah.
The one muscle that did grow during the past couple of years is our holding gross muscle. All of a sudden, everybody learned how to hold gross, right? Everybody's they're a little gross drunk at the moment still, right? They were holding so much of that gross, and it was mind blowing to see that. The race to the bottom ended, but now we're seeing that salespeople don't know how to overcome common objections. They don't know how to neutralize them. They knew, especially those that were hired during this time.
Oh yeah.
They were like, what do you mean?
Thanks, COVID.
You have it. Just buy it. I have my paperwork ready, right? They didn't know. And that's okay. Again, that's something they got honestly. And back to what Fred was pointing out when Glenn was speaking with us, when Glenn Pass said, I don't think that they were lazy. They just worked with what they had. Their gross muscle went up. Their other muscles went a little dormant or never got attention. And inside of that, that's what we're focusing on now, is building up those muscles that help them understand, hold on. There's still a basic way to connect to a person. We quickly got their compliance because we had product when we had product.
Yeah.
But you didn't have any connection. And a lot of those people, when they find out where they're sitting equity wise, that connection may be severed. right? You may not be connected to that person anymore. So inside of that, we are leaning heavily on teaching people how to gain the connection, to get compliance and stay compliant. And inside of that, we're opening up the doors for people to start really seeing how to overcome objections, still hold gross, still move your business forward, still hit volume numbers. There's so much that we're leaning into with that, and I can talk forever about that. But Fred, go ahead. You keep telling them what we're doing.
No, that's our Green to Great program. It's out there. People check it out. Go to any of our social media sites, Car Guy Coffee, certifiedsolutionaries.com right now, and there's some information about that. But that being said, we plan on being on all the major events. We're going to be at Digital Dealer. We're going to be at NIADA, my friends. We will be there loud and proud, having a great time. I believe we're going to be speaking there too. So we should be out there. Come check out our session. It's going to be very educational. I have something set up to where I want people to be involved. I want everyone in the room talking about their ideas, talking about their struggles, and us figuring out solutions, not just actionables that you could take home right then or start right now and make it work. So that being said, we're going to be there. We're going to be doing those things. Look for us. We're going to be at tons of masterminds. That's where we get all our knowledge and we share our knowledge. It's a great thing. I suggest all you all to go do that. But like Lou said, with our training that's there, we do. It's a green program that you can go online and just look at these videos and be able to learn and teach your staff, and even have the veterans go back and just get kind of resettled back in. We all need to get our foundation right. That's how you build your house, right? A good foundation.
Yeah.
But we also, obviously, we're doing our sales training. We're traveling the country. We're going to be making some big announcements soon. I can't really talk about right now. We're going to be teaming up with some people. It's about as much as I'm going to say. This certified solutionary crew is about to be from 2 to more. There's going to be some great people teaming up with us. And really, that's about all I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop there. With that, that's about all I'm going to say there. But we recently teamed up with a great F&I training and consulting firm that also has great products with Ascent Dealer Services out of Marburger. It's a big merger with us too. With our networks, we should be able to do some major things. We're going to be the face of Ascent Dealer Services independent dealers. So we're going to be out there, doing our thing to make sure that you guys hear about what kind of products we have, what kind of training, what kind of opportunities to help your dealers grow in that F&I department, and so much more.
We've also branched outside of automotive.
We did
also come outside of automotive. In this month, actually, we are going to be hosting a company culture event, just building together the people inside of a company, understanding how to speak to your colleagues and how to face the challenges of your day.
Yeah.
Can make or break a company, right?
Yeah.
It can make people dread showing up to work, dread seeing the people that are at work,
For
and
sure.
then bring all that negative energy back home, right? And inside of that, we've noticed, and it was by ways of car dealers, right? We've connected, but now we've started to get outside of the industry also to do company culture cultivating, to be able to get us inside of other companies in order to get them to enjoy doing their work and do it like a solutionary, approach their issues or their concerns like a solutionary. And so we're excited about that this year as well.
I mean, there's so many to name. I mean, there's so many partnerships that we have that I can't. Some of them I can't announce yet. Some I could, but the list is long. It's a great time to be a solutionary. And it's a great time to be in this industry right now. I think that I think there's going to be some challenges, but I'm telling you, this is where Phoenix come from, the ashes, and then we rise up and we do some amazing things. So let's be the Phoenix.
And you guys are continuing your podcast. Is there a specific day people should look out for new episodes?
We have, like, every other Friday we do a fixed ops Friday that's guaranteed to be on. You'll see reruns in between. There might be a week off on one of those every once in a while, but but our show, it runs when we have opportunities with people. It's on their schedule. It's available at carguycoffee.com. A lot of our podcasts are already out, or you can go to anywhere where podcasts can be heard, but you can watch them there. Go to YouTube, look us up. We're, it's all over the place. We have hundreds and hundreds of episodes out there for people to listen to. But this year, look for big things there. We're going to be teaming up with other podcasts and trying to build a network, like one big network that we all share sponsors. We all share this. So be looking for that. There's great news coming from there too. So
that sounds exciting. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking time to talk to my listeners. And thanks again for explaining what you guys do and how we can all work together as vendors to improve the industry as a whole, because that's why we're all here, because we love it, we care about it, and we want to see it improve and grow. So thank you both again for being here today.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you for having us.
Maggie. We do have one thing you got to do with us. They may not be able to see us do it, but they can hear us give focus and fly so that we can keep growing. So we can see you. So we put our hands on our shoulders. We wipe off the weight of unforgiveness. We focus on where we're going and who we can help. And we stretch out and we fly so that we keep growing. So let's do that together on 3 before you cap off your show. Hands on the shoulders. 1, 2, 3.
Forgive, focus, fly,
fly,
and keep
growing.
growing. Keep growing. That's awesome.
Thank you so much to Fred Lennartz and Lou Ramirez for joining us on this episode of Elevate with C&M Coaching. I know this is one of the longer episodes that we have, but I do hope that you enjoyed some of the messages that they have and some of the positive things that they want to share with the industry to help others grow. Just as a friendly reminder, the Compliance Unleashed convention is also coming up, and I'm pretty excited about that one. I'm going to be speaking with Richard Hudson from Ignite Consulting Partners, and I am stoked about it. It's going to be May 22nd through the 24th. The theme this year is Navigating Turbulent Waters. I have some awesome stuff to play, and I'm super excited to speak with Richard. I just adore him, and I cannot wait for that to happen. So don't forget to get registered for that. Registration is open now, and we'll be back next time on another episode of Elevate with C&M Coaching. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope you have a great weekend. Tomorrow is Friday. Thanks again.